Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be an updated foundation routine for flawless, long-lasting makeup. Because I have super long days, I usually put my makeup on in the beginning of the day at work, which is usually around 9 a.m. and then it has to last me until I get home at night. Sometimes I go out after work, so I get home at like maybe 9 or 10 o'clock, so a good 12 hours. At the very least, an 8-hour day needs to be, like, my makeup needs to be in check. Yeah, I've played around with my foundation routine a lot in the past, I would say, year, and I feel like I've finally got like a really great foundation routine that is pretty easy to learn. There's not too many extra steps or anything, but it is going to give you really nice, flawless foundation that's going to last for a very long time. I'm using all of my favorite face products in this video so you guys can get to learn a little bit more about those. Some of them you've already heard of, some of them are pretty new to me because I've recently discovered a lot of new face products, but I wanted to do this video because it's summer now. My skin has been getting pretty oily lately, so I think that if you can master getting your foundation to last for an entire day with oily skin and with the heat and humidity outside, that your makeup will pretty much last through any other condition, because those are probably the two hardest to get through. So I feel like I've mastered that, and I just wanted to share my tips and tricks with you guys to help you out if this is a problem that you're dealing with as well. I have pretty oily skin, like I said. I have very intense under eye circles that I think I kind of combated on camera. They look pretty concealed. I also deal with acne and acne scarring and, you know, uneven texture and all of that. I definitely don't have perfect skin by any means. So the fact that I can get this flawless of a finish really impresses me, honestly. But yeah, if you are interested in learning how I got this flawless foundation that's going to last all day, then make sure that you keep watching and subscribe to my channel before you leave, and let's just get right into it. Okay guys, first things first, I'm gonna go ahead and prime my face. The one I've been using lately when I'm at home, I use another one when I'm at work. This is the Urban Decay Optical Blur, or Optical Illusion Complexion Primer. And it's smoothing and kind of like blurring, so it's one of those primers that fills in your pores and smooths over any texture. I take a little bit because if you put on too much of this, it can get pretty slippy on the skin and make your foundation move around a lot. I press it into this portion of my face because this is where my pores are largest, but then smooth it over the rest of your face so that everything is nice and smooth so that your foundation can apply evenly. We aren't going to go in with foundation just yet. We have a few steps before that, but I put this on first just so that anything I do put on my skin has this primer under it. And then this is kind of a weird step. I'm not sure that really anybody else does this, but I go ahead and apply like a color corrector under my eyes to sit there as I do the rest of my makeup. So before I do anything else, I go ahead with the Kevyn Aucoin Sensual Skin Enhancer. This is in the shade SX09, which is a lot darker than my skin tone, but it's a nice like peachy shade. It's going to help color correct. So I apply a pretty thick layer of that right over my dark circles, because as you can tell, my dark circles are on another level. So I like to combat these in the very beginning, and letting it sit there as we do the rest of our makeup is really going to help it like stick. Like, you just put it on, you don't blend it or anything, and that's going to help it adhere to the skin. You wouldn't normally do this with really any other product, but I like to do this with concealers just because I feel like sometimes if I put on a concealer and then immediately blend it out with a beauty blender, I'm kind of just picking it up. So I like to just let it sit on my skin and kind of dry on there and then blend it out later. It isn't like gonna be, it's not like glue, so it's not gonna be impossible to blend it out. It's not like my face is just gonna look like this forever. So yeah, I let that sit, and then I go ahead and do my eyebrows in the meantime. And the pencil I've been liking to do my eyebrows lately is from this brand I found at the Makeup Show New York. They're called Lash Star Beauty. They sell false eyelashes. They sell these really great brow pencils. They also sell this really cool heated lash curler. They're a pretty small brand, but everything I saw at the makeup show looked really interesting, and I bought these brow pencils and I'm in love with them. They don't have any top at the end. You just screw it up and it's there, so it's kind of less packaging. I thought that was weird at first, but now that I have it, like, I mean, who really, if you can screw it all the way down, who really needs a top to the brow pencil? But it's very similar to the Anastasia Brow Wiz, which you guys know is one of my favorites. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and fill in my brows and I'll be right back. Okay guys, now that my brows are on, I go ahead with this NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer. I thought it was cream concealer, whatever. And this is in the shade Creme Brulee, and I use this to carve out my brows. I guess you could say this is an eyebrow step, but I feel like it really makes a difference in terms of how clean your face looks. Like when I don't do this, I feel as if my foundation or my face doesn't look as perfected, if you know what I mean. So I feel like this is an eyebrow step, but also part of your foundation routine. So I'm gonna go ahead with this and carve out my brows. And I used to use a lot lighter of a shade for this to like really highlight my brows, but I feel like that's a little bit too harsh. So now I just go in with a concealer color that's closer to my actual skin tone shade. And some people do this step after they put on their foundation, but I feel like the concealer blends into your foundation a lot better when you do it beforehand. See, doesn't this one look so much cleaner than this one now? You don't necessarily have to get a $30 concealer to cover your brows, but that's what I do.
Like your unibrow would be so solid right now.
What do you mean?
If you like just drew in like a unibrow, like your shit would be like fire. Right?
Oh, you mean before I did my eyebrows in 3rd grade? Okay, now that brows are on and this has sat, we actually go in with our foundation. And as you guys know, maybe you know, I don't know, I mentioned it before, the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Stick Foundation is my favorite foundation ever. And on an everyday basis, this is usually what I use. It's a great buildable coverage. It's a kind of natural finish. It's not too dewy, but it definitely is not matte. If you have oily skin, you are going to have to take some precautions to keep this from making you super shiny. Like I've had oilier skin lately and I do get shiny throughout the day, but it just makes your skin look so pretty that I just make it work. Just powder, touch up during the day, and you'll be fine. It does get like a little tacky on the skin, which I usually hate, but like I said, it just makes you look so pretty that I really don't give a shit. And you can do, I usually do 1 layer, and then if I need a little bit more, I can go back in. It's very nice and buildable, so it's not gonna make you look super cakey if you do go back in with a little bit more. I have one of these at work, I have 2 of these at home. I actually have 2 at work too. Yeah, I just have a million of these stick foundations because they're my favorite.
I only counted 4.
Huh?
I only counted 4.
You're fucking rude, okay? 4 stick foundations is a million in makeup terms. That's like too many of one product. And I do always apply my foundation, no matter what foundation I'm using, with a damp beauty blender. I don't really know how to use brushes anymore. You see, I look super shiny right now, but when you powder it, you look flawless. I mean, unless you do want to look dewy if you have dry skin. This is lit for you. Do you prefer matte or dewy, babe?
Matte.
Yeah, you're always like, why does this bitch look greasy?
Yeah. I bet you can give the next 2 instructions in Linda's voice without laughing.
I can't even start it without laughing. Maybe that should be a challenge. Linda Belcher makeup tutorial. I feel like if we get that section with like random like art pieces or whatever, it needs to be like heavily Bob's Burgers influenced.
Damn.
Heavily. Around Christmas time, I really thought you were gonna get me that Bob's Burgers Christmas sweater, and then you didn't. So, okay, number 3, concealer. Yep. 3 concealers, 1 face. But this one is the Tarte Shape Tape, and this is what I use as like my highlighting under eye center of the face concealer. I know 3 concealers for 1 look is excessive, but I'm excessive, I guess. So this is the shade Light. I'm going to go under the eyes in that classic triangle shape. I also put a little on my lid just to like, you know, prime it and shit. And a little bit of this goes a long way, so don't feel like you need to like seriously pack it on. I go around my mouth to highlight that area, Cupid's bow, chin, and then also down the center of my face. So down my nose and forehead. Am I pretty?
You look like a fucking wrestler right now.
What fucking wrestler do you know looks like this? Wrestlers do this? I was thinking more like Aztec warrior. And then I'm gonna go ahead and blend that out with my beauty blender. And you can let that sit for a little too. As I was explaining before, if you let it sit a little, it'll kind of adhere to the skin and give you a little bit more coverage. Especially with the Shape Tape one, it gets super like tacky and sticky and really sticks to your skin. Nothing like concealing to make you feel like a brand new human.
Wow, that's kind of incredible what that just did.
So what made me pretty? Trick question. And I find when I put like the concealer down my nose, it kind of like opposite contours my nose. I mean, I go ahead and contour it a little bit more, but you can see it's like shadow and then like highlight, so it looks a little slimmer, I guess. I mean, I don't really care about making my nose look slimmer, but it gives more shape to your face. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and semi-bake. I don't like do a full bake, like actually leave it on my skin, but I go in with the RCMA No Color Powder. I know everybody uses this, but it's for good reason. I just put, I don't know, I either put it in the palm of my hand or wherever I can. And I take my damp beauty blender, get a shit ton of it on the beauty blender, and go ahead and press it right onto where I put that concealer, focusing under my eye so that it keeps it in place and it doesn't crease. I also put it on my lid to kind of prime for any eyeshadows. I don't really use any eyeshadow primer anymore. I just do this step and it seems to work out fine. And I do have oily lids and it works for me, so I think it'll work for you too if you have that issue. And if you just keep pressing it in with the damp beauty blender, it eventually like melts the powder into your skin and locks everything in place. You can even do this to your whole face, because I find that when I just do it here, like this portion of my eye will like stay on all day and then other parts will fade, but this part will be like intact always. So I like to do it in like the center of my face to make sure that like that part stays in check, especially over here where I get oily. And also around my chin, really around this whole area.
Basically my whole face, guys.
Shut up, babe. I also like to take a little bit right over the top of my eyebrow to set that concealer we put over there before, and it kind of just like locks your eyebrows into place. That was fun. Then I go in with a powder foundation to set the rest of my face. This is the Micro Smooth Baked Powder from Sephora, and I just take this really dirty Real Techniques brush. Yeah, all my brushes in this video are going to be super dirty because I actually use them every day. I mean, yes, I have to clean them. Probably why I'm breaking out right now. But it's cool. We're going to make it work. And I always press it into my skin because if you like buff it, just like wipe shit up, move shit around. You don't want to do that. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and bronze. So I guess that's like the whole foundation routine. But I still want to finish up like the bronzer and blush and stuff because that's a very crucial part of your foundation. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and bronze. Lately I've been using the Laguna bronzer from NARS, which I had never owned before, which is crazy because this is like such a cult classic, like OG product. But I go in with the Makeup Forever, what number is this? 122. It's like their duo fiber stippling brush, and I just swirl it in there. I don't really like to do like a crazy contour every day. I just kind of do that, like blend the bronzer all over my cheek, and then I'll go back in with my beauty blender later and kind of clean it up so it's a little bit smoother. But I really like this brush for bronzing because it just blends it out so nicely and easily because it's so big and like fluffy. Like it just does the job for you of blending your bronzer. All NARS powders are really awesome at being like the perfect amount of pigmentation and super blendable. Just really great powders. So I do that, take it around my jawline a little bit, and then I go in with this brush, which is the Sigma High Cheekbone Highlighter F03 brush, and I actually use this to contour my nose just because it's a pretty perfect shape for it. So I just take a little bit of the bronzer on there and just sweep it up and down the sides of my nose, and it does the job so easy. And I don't really like a crazy nose contour. I just really do it to kind of frame my face and kind of tie it into the rest of the bronzer and the rest of my face. So yeah, to clean up that contour, like because it was such a big brush, it can get a little messy. I just go in with whatever's left on my beauty blender of the powder and the concealer and all that, and I'll just swipe it right under wherever you want your like contour line to be. And it just cleans it up a little. Okay, and then the blush I use on a daily basis is this NARS blush in Madly. In the pan, it really doesn't look like anything, but on the cheeks, it just blends into your bronzer so beautifully. At least for my skin tone, it does. And I'm not really like a crazy blush person. I just like, you know, just a little bit of a flush. I don't want like anything hot pink on my face, but I do want some color to my cheeks, so I really like this. And then the one thing that I do switch up on a daily basis is my highlighter. Some of the ones I really love are Champagne Pop. I really like the Makeup Forever one from that blush, from that bronzer and highlight duo. The Nicole Guerrero Anastasia kit. Really any of the Anastasia Glow Kits I really love. But yeah, I switch up my highlighter a lot. Today...
Like the one I got for you for Christmas? Oh, all right.
What?
Like the one I got for you for Christmas?
The Moonchild? That's a special effects palette, babe. Yeah, but the one I'm going to use today is from this Itsy, I think it's called the Glambition collection. This is a new collection of theirs. Thank you, Itsy, for sending it to me. I really fell in love with this shade right here because it's very similar to a lot of the highlighters I wear. This one is called Gold Digger. Oh wait, Gold Digger. I think I'm also gonna mix it with this one because it's really pretty. This is called Run the World. Yeah, so I'm gonna mix these two together. And the brush I use is the M510 from Morphe. This is a life-changing highlighter brush, guys. And I start right here. Woohoo! That's a good glow. Just pop it on the top of my cheekbones. And then I go down the center of my nose, tip of the nose. I really like to shine like Rudolph on the tip of my nose. I put a lot there. And then Cupid's bow. Gotta hit the Cupid's bow. And then a little bit on the chin. I used to do it on my forehead too, but since I've been like more oily, I don't know, I just don't like it there anymore. And then sometimes I will just go back in with my blush brush and make sure everything's nice and blended so it doesn't look like a streak of highlighter. And then I will take a, you know, like an eyeshadow brush and take that same highlight and pop it on the inner corner of my eye. And then also on my brow bone, just to tie everything together. And then for the rest of my eyeshadow, just to finish everything up, I usually just take, on an everyday basis, I usually just take a little swirl of my bronzer on an E40 brush and just buff this into the crease. And then if I'm feeling fancy, I'll just take a little swipe of my highlighter and press it on the lid just to add some light there. This is just a super quick and easy, like, this is basically what I do every day at work because I have to like finish my makeup super quickly in the morning at my desk. And then I'll take a smaller brush and just put a little bit of this under the eye to add a little bit of shadow and dimension. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the rest of my makeup, put on some mascara and lashes and a lip, and I'll be right back to finish up the video. Okay, you guys, I'm back. I got my lashes on, I got my lip on. My lashes are these cream number 523s. They're really pretty and, you know, wispy. And then my lip is a combo of this NYX Slide On Glide On lip liner in Intimidate, which is a really nice like mauve brown. And then on top of that, I have Kylie Cosmetics Coco K, which is one of my favorite lipsticks ever. If you don't want it to be matte, you can put a little gloss on it. I think I might do that right now actually, because my lips are a little bit dry today. I'm gonna go in with my favorite gloss, which is White Russian by Buxom. Much better. Okay, and just to finish up everything, set everything in place, my favorite setting spray is a really nice and affordable one. This is the NYX Matte Finish Setting Spray. If you spray this before your makeup and after your makeup will literally be super duper matte, almost too matte for me, which is why I didn't put it on in the beginning. But it's gonna keep everything in place so, so nicely, and it's probably the most inexpensive setting spray I've ever bought, so that is a huge plus. They also have a dewy finish one if you have more dry skin and you want to glow a little bit more. But I'm just gonna go ahead and spray my whole face with this. And spraying a setting spray is going to make sure everything stays in place, like I said, and it also is going to take down any powdery look from putting all of those powders on your skin. Like your highlight is going to be much more metallic because any powdery finish that it might have had is going to be toned down. Same for any powder under your eyes or anything like that. It's just going to make sure everything looks nice and blended and seamless across your entire face, and it's definitely a necessary step for me. So make sure you get yourself a setting spray. Okay guys, that is going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned all of my tips and tricks that I gave you in this video, and I hope they were helpful. If they were, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to my channel before you leave. Let me know in the comments what your tips and tricks for long-lasting foundation and makeup in general are, because I would love to hear them. I love you so much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.